Hello, it's Sunday. Welcome to My Left Ear. I am Carrie Freeman, the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear. This is video 109, and it's July 31st. Tomorrow starts August. My goodness. Time flies. Even if you're not having fun, time flies. This is a liberal-leaning YouTube channel, and I deal with politics, and I tell stories, and I talk about something called good evidence based on a book I wrote, and kindness on the streets. We like kindness on the streets. And what I do in my private life when I'm not doing these videos is I coach people and I help people through the medium of therapeutic hypnosis. And the coaching utilizes my left ear psychic intuitive abilities that I have. So it's called My Left Ear because I actually do get guidance information through this side. And then after I came up with the title, I realized, oh, it goes along with my politics. So I didn't think of those two, it just kind of happened. So there's all kinds of information on the work I do, the coaching, the creative coaching for writing down below. And then I put, I state things in my community page about my book, The Comics Daughter, my Patreon page, which is a lot of fun. So look in the community section and I will fill you in there. And lastly, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's very important to say that. All right, I'm gonna start with a little bit of good news, which is that Clarence Thomas was a professor at a university in DC, and I did not write down the name of the university, so I apologize for that. But anyway, he evidently teaches there, and university students protested him teaching, said they would not show up for the classes, and he resigned. He resigned his teaching post at the university. Now, at the same time, his wife, Ginny Thomas, his best friend, is getting in deeper and deeper. They're finding more texts, more, seditious criminality. And I would say, my left ear would say, expect a subpoena for Ginny. And she will fight it, but she will not win. All right? Now, I have a theory about Clarence Thomas next year, and and I threw some runes on him. It's towards the end of the video. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to Clarence. Now, the big news, well, there's a lot of big news every day, all day long, but this this bill called the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a reconfigured Build Back Better, but spending a little less money. It was being worked on in a very stealth manner between Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer. They were really good at it. It deals with, I'm just going over this really fast, energy policy, climate change, healthcare premiums, income taxes on the rich, Medicare now, well, once it's passed, able to negotiate a reduction on prescriptions. And this is all will help inflation, so they say. And I didn't mean that cynically. That's what they say, okay? So shock, shock, shock to pretty much everybody. Manchin voted with the Dems, worked out a deal with Chuck Schumer. They did it kind of privately, and it made the GOP enraged. They felt that, it's so funny, because I always call Joe Manchin a Republican, and he's really over on the Democratic side as an operative, but they thought he was a Republican too, so they feel like he's let them down. They're mad at him. And in retaliation, and nothing more than retaliation, which leaves out all their constituents and the population, is that they voted against health coverage for burned veterans with pit burns. I cannot think of anything more cruel but they're getting their revenge, okay? And they will plan to vote against gay marriage because their feeling is, well, you got one and now we're gonna get two, and it's very childish, and it has nothing to do with people or representing people or trying to do the best for people. It really doesn't. Now, I did throw some runes I'm going to share with you in a minute. This thing has to be done, this, what did I call it? Inflation reduction, I have to get used to that. It has to be done sometime in August. It has to. So the question for me, and I think a lot of people, what's Kristen Sinema gonna do? She likes attention, she likes to play it very close and get the drama going. This is my impression. And because COVID is spiking again, more people in government, legislators, are coming down with COVID. Joe Biden has it for the second time. Joe Manchin is coming out of it. And they're very worried about the Democrats in the Senate because they can't do it, they can't vote over Zoom. They have to be there physically. So those are a couple of biggies. Now, let me just tell you, okay, so here it is. I asked, will the new act, Inflation Reduction Act, pass in August? So it's particularly in August. Keep that in mind, all right? I'm going to say, based on these runes, and I'm crushed, and I want to be wrong. I want to get a bunch of letters saying, you were wrong. But it doesn't look likely in August. So I got, the first rune I got was disruption, which talks about change, freedom, invention, liberation. Those are all attributes which sound good. There's an attempt to break free from constricting identifications. But the elements are totally out of our control. That's what the rune is telling us. And it always operates in the reverse. It is an awakening that takes various forms. And the onset of this is so powerful that it could rip away the fabric of what we previously knew. I don't put a ton of energy into the first rune most of the time. Usually I go, well, let's see where this is going. All right, so the next rune I got was the rune of flow in reverse, okay? And flow, we got it a couple times today. It says there's a counsel here against overreach and excessive striving, and that would be the Democrats. Excessive striving. This is a warning against trying to exceed your own strength or operate beyond your powers. And flow reverse indicates a failure to draw upon the wisdom of instincts. So maybe I don't know yet, but maybe doing it in private inflamed people. It's sort of a feeling from that rune. And then the last rune I got was the rune of separation reversed. And it says, it is not a time to be bound by old conditioning, old authority. Act according to the light. And what came to me is wait. Adaptability and skillful means are the methods to cultivate here, but we must wait for the universe to act. So this response was mediocre to not good, a little hazy. So I'm leaving it alone. We've got the whole month of August, but I'm sharing with you that there's probably going to be some complications. It does not mean this bill cannot pass in the near future, all right? In the near future, because we thought that Build Back Better was dead, but it's kind of come back with a new name, all right? So let's not get, I got some dicey answers today, by the way, but let's not, get too literal yet. Let's kind of wait and watch. That's my advice. Now, I did another one because the polls. Now, I don't pay a lot of attention to the polls, but I hear them, I register it, and I asked, will Biden's poll numbers go back up? Now, the answer I got for now is not likely. But my left ear, I must tell you, interrupted and said, they'll probably go back up, all right? But for now, I got the gateway rune reversed. And it says this whole thing demands contemplation right now. There's a caution not to act from weakness. Impulses must be tempered by thinking about correct procedure. Well, I really think Joe Biden thinks about correct procedure. But then I got the movement rune reversed. And I didn't like that at all. So it says movement that appears to be blocked. You must recognize that all opportunities are not appropriate. The intuitive side to your nature may be languishing and leave you out of balance. Now, privately, he's probably a little bit out of balance. He doesn't present that to us because he's an upbeat man and he's an optimist. And he's not going to show up looking defeated. And he's not defeated. He's done a lot of great things. But I did read, and a friend pointed out to me that even though the polls are down, if they felt that they had to, they would vote for him again. Odd. So it's very shaky. Then I got the rune called Flow, which sounds great, but it was in reverse. All right. So it says there's a counsel against overreach and excessive striving. So right now he's doing the right thing. He's just paying attention on getting stuff done that's important. So right now he isn't overreaching and he's not doing excessive striving. He presents as very calm and centered and focused on the tasks at hand. The rune says in reverse, this is a warning against trying to exceed your own strength or operate beyond your powers. It indicates a failure to draw upon the wisdom of instincts. But I think Joe Biden actually has good instincts. However, the question didn't get answered in an upbeat manner. And honestly, I feel like we're talking about now. Maybe it had to do with the energy of today. Maybe I shouldn't have done the runes today. I don't know. It's interesting what's going on. So you may have seen this wonderful journalist on MSNBC, Clairaudient, and she writes, I think it's the Washington Post. She's won a Pulitzer Prize. She's very accurate and pristine in her reporting, methodical, kind of, I don't mean slow, but like methodical, I think is a good word. Anyway, I like her very much. This is about the Secret Service, by the way, there's a huge thing going on with the Secret Service. So the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, the chief watchdog, Joseph Cuffari, the Inspector General. Now I hope I get this right, okay? Because we know sometimes I get this wrong. But I do believe it is Joseph Cuffari that is the Inspector General for Homeland Security. And he was appointed by Trump in 2019. But he scrapped the investigative team's effort to collect agency phones, Secret Service phones, to try to recover deleted Secret Service texts this year, according to 4 people with knowledge of the decision and internal records reviewed by the Washington Post. So it began in early February after learning that the Secret Service text messages had been erased as part of a migration or alleged migration, that's their story, of new devices, 2 new devices. The staff at Inspector General Joseph, there he is, Cuffari's office planned to contact all DHS agencies offering to have data specialists help retrieve messages from their phones. And this is according to 2 governmental whistleblowers. But he changed his mind. It all was good, and he changed his mind. But later that month, Cuffari's office decided it would not collect or review any agency's phones. Again, according to 3 people that were in on the decision. So this latest revelation comes as the Democratic lawmakers have accused Cuffari's office of failing to aggressively investigate the agency's actions. It looks like a cover-up. It looks like a cover-up. And then Cuffari wrote a letter to the House and Senate Homeland Security Committees this month saying the Secret Service's texts from the time of the attack had been erased. But he did not immediately close that his office first discovered that deletion in December and failed to alert lawmakers, nor did he alert Congress that other text messages were missing, including those of 2 top Trump appointees running the department. All right, so I noticed a tweet by podcaster Tom Joseph, who's he's excellent. He doesn't do, like predictions the way I do or other people do it. He's not doing tarot. He's totally talking political stuff, and he's really good. And he wrote, inspector generals that didn't raise alerts on destroyed evidence had roles in the coup. I agree, Tom. This isn't hard to figure out, he wrote. Anyone who remained silent and nodded was a friend of the coup in order to keep their options open in case it succeeded. And then there would be a new hybrid type of U.S. government form. So they were just keeping their options open. But the missing text messages create a roster of the traitors who were part of the coup. That's what Tom Joseph said. And I agree with him, so I was sharing it with you. Now I'm going to talk about Ukraine. This was also something through Greg Oliar, who is a prolific blogger and historian and political expert. And he said, looking ahead, there is no path out of economic oblivion for Russia, as long as the allied countries remain unified in maintaining and increasing sanction pressures against Russia. And there is no indication that the other countries will discontinue. They're going to keep this going. It's really good news for us. They're suffering. They can't get computer boards now. Isn't that interesting? They can't get computer boards. Think about that. That could be a real problem. And also, I don't know much about this, but it's interesting, and it was, it's true, that Zelensky spoke out about Tulsi Gabbard and Rand Paul taking Russian money. And that's the first time I think anybody came out and named names and talked about their association with Russia. And Tulsi and Rand Paul have said nothing. That's to be expected. Now, I watched Michael Mafal, the ex-ambassador to Russia, and Colonel Alex Vindman, who is a gift to all of us. And they feel that there's progress being made, but not to get really, really excited about it. But they said that the U.S. is sending more key equipment and arsenals for Ukraine. They're going to be very helpful to them. And right now, there's a big battle for the Donbass in eastern Ukraine. And Russians have been gaining. I do want to mention this. But we need to stop them on the battlefield. And this isn't me. This is Ambassador McCall and Colonel Vindman. Because what they are saying, that the Russians are using terrorist tactics to win, because they can't win on the battlefield. They are weak. So tragically, they've been targeting, civilians and civilian locations, and they've been torturing, and I think I just don't want to go any further, but they've been torturing. All right. The other word begins with a C, and I just rather not even say it. It's very, very, very sickening. So they think, though, that the Donbass is going to turn in the Ukraine's favor because of the equipment, and because the strong suit is not the battlefield for them. All right. Now, here's something strong that they say. Ukraine is launching a counterattack in the South Ukraine, in Kherson, a major economic center and the home of major shipping industries, I found out. Now, according to both experts, this is the battle to watch, that we're going to see victory. And it is Kherson is one of the most important cities, and it could end Russia's aspirations. Ba-dum-bum. And I don't pretend to be like any kind of expert on anything really, but especially the United States. So I do research and I bring this to you. Michigan, this is just like kind of a good news thing. You remember Senator Mallory McMorrow got up in Michigan and made an incredible speech about the cruelty and nastiness that's going on. She called for a stop, and she did this because her opponent in Michigan accused her of grooming children in an April fundraising email. So as a result, that Republican person who is in opposition to McMorrow has made $300 in contributions, and McMorrow has raised more than $1 million. It's really a great story, so I wanted to share that with you. She's got a huge future, by the way, in politics. Now, the story about a call for the Supreme Court justices to be impeached, some of them, for misleading statements on their views on Roe v. Wade, was begun by AOC. And what I am confused with this is that she is aiming at Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch. She said they were both appointed by former President Donald Trump, so was Amy Coney Barrett, and had signaled that they would not reverse the Supreme Court's landmark 1973 decision, Roe v. Wade, during confirmation hearings. They claimed this during confirmation hearings. But I really feel like Coney Barrett did the same thing. But at any rate, she said there must be consequences for that. And I just don't know why Clarence Thomas and Amy Coney Barrett are not included in this, but we will find out. And it's a beginning. I don't have high hopes for this, but it's a beginning, and I think we could see something possibly next year in 23. So I asked, this is my last rune thing that I asked in 2023, will we see changes to SCOTUS? So this was really interesting, if you're still with me. I got the rune of opening in the reversed, but I got it twice because I throw the runes on one question. I'll get that one rune and I'll put it back in the bag and I'll mix up the runes. So I got it twice, and it says, expect a darkening of the light in some situation. That would be on the court. A partnership or friendship may be dying. Some aspect of yourself that is no longer appropriate. I keep thinking of Clarence. All right. Reversed. This rune speaks to a death of a way of being that is no longer valid. The court. Failure to face it constitutes more loss. It tells the recipients, do not be seduced by the old ways. So those were the first two runes. So the last rune was flow in the upright position, which is lovely. And flow says, unseen powers are at play here. The attributes of flow are water, fluidity, and the ebb and flow of careers. You believe it? Other things, but I focused in on the careers. It signals, get ready, I'm going to repeat this. It signals a time for cleansing. It signals a time for cleansing. And I want to say, yes, we will see changes in 23 to SCOTUS. My left ear believes it. I believe these runes. And I think it's really going to, Clarence is going to get hit, and he will resist and he will fail further. I even had a thought through my left ear, and I want to say it lightly because this could even be a blowout in the marriage between Ginny Thomas and Clarence. Hard to say, but it came through, so I'm sharing it with you. Okay, my friends, I'm going to come to the good evidence here. If you're new, you haven't heard me before, I wrote a book that's on Amazon with 5 stars. It's a ebook, and it's called Good Evidence and Positive Noticing by Carrie Freeman. And I am rewriting it now, making it a paperback. So that's going to become available in about 3 months. All right, so the good evidence is I saw a video. I guess maybe these videos are taken from somebody's home that their cameras are set up, but a man was walking down the street, and he lost his balance, and all of his groceries went everywhere, all over the place, small things, big things, and he started cleaning it up, and some children on bicycles saw it, and they rushed over on their bicycles, jumped off their bicycles, and all the children, must have been 7 or 8, they just started picking up the groceries for the man. And maybe when we think we're losing our children, or the children don't have values, they don't know about kindness, some of them do. It was a wonderful video. And I don't know what city it was in, and it was in the United States. So there you go. And yeah, I don't want to go too long today. I always have evidence stories, but I do have quotes here. And I want to thank my Patreon people for writing me comments that they really like it. And I'm going to put, I'm not identifying anybody, but I'm going to put these nice comments I'm getting on my Patreon channel in my community page so you can see them. So you might want to look into my Patreon. It's fun. I have this one quote today because I have heard it before, and every time I hear it or I read it, it just kind of knocks me over. And I don't want to muck it up by adding other quotes. But you know, we're talking a lot about depression, anxiety, and mental illness running rampant in regular people. I'm not talking about the crazies. And I think Robin Williams, who suffered, before he even got ill, he suffered, as many very funny and talented people do. He said, people don't fake depression. They fake being okay. So be kind. And I don't know about you. Well, I'm going to read it again. People don't fake depression. They fake being okay. So be kind. I've done it. I've had people that know me very well say, God, you look great, and the energy, And you know, something's going on inside that's not that. And I think that nothing but, just no better quote about depression than this one by Robin Williams. So he is someone I'll talk about in my Patreon, because I worked with him on 4 comic reliefs, and I actually got to have a really cool conversation with him. He was a very sweet man. All right, bless you, Robin Williams. I will be back with more. I'll be back. Make peace, make good memories, and thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye.